Welcome back to Paranormally Correct. I'm your host, Sarah, and today we're doing something that I've never done before, but I wish I had done before because I think it'd be super cool to go back and rewatch this a year later. But we are going to take a look back at the paranormal in the year 2020. 2020 has been a good year for Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster. And I'm actually thinking about doing like a whole video on the Loch Ness Monster because it's something I've never done before. And I'll probably get into that as to why later in the video. But there were a lot of claims about Nessie and similar creatures in the year 2020, as well as a lot of Bigfoot sightings. Lots of strange things that we're going to go over. So buckle up, buckaroo, and I hope you enjoy this video. It's going to be super long, but I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be an adventure and a look back on 2020 and the paranormal. Let's go all the way back to the beginning of January 2020. And I do remember this news article. I remember reading this and watching the video, and I may have shared it on the Paranormally Correct Facebook page. I'm not entirely sure. I don't think that it's supernatural. If it is, it's like one of the luckiest shots ever. This actually happened in Texas. The owner of the house said that she discovered this strange anomaly the next morning after she was just flipping through, whatever footage the Ring camera had captured in the night. So let's go ahead and check this one out. So either they're friends with an alien or this is like the coolest glitch ever. Interestingly enough, most people have agreed that it's just a glitch in software. It's not anything crazy or paranormal. I think what happened here, just a wild guess off the top of my head, something that's entirely possible. It could be like frames dropping. It could just be something to do with the bitrate. There's a lot goes into camera technology, even if it's like super low quality home security system type technology, and that actually is when you tend to see the most with anomalies. You kind of start to get into a lot of problems with the lower end of camera technology, but this is really cool. I don't have like a super solid explanation for it. I do think that if it were really supernatural, it would just be like the best thing ever. Of course, I always want this stuff to be paranormal, but I don't think it is. But either way, it's a really cool video, and maybe the guy really is an alien. The next story is of La Llorona, and I'm not entirely sure how to say that. I always call it La Lorna. I don't know, I just always call it that. Anytime that I ever mention this particular urban legend, that's always how I remember it, is La Lorna, but I know that's not correct, but whatever. Why would we be correct here on Paranormally Correct? So this footage was captured in Colombia, and apparently a lot of Spanish language news channels picked it up and they showed the footage, and a lot of people say that they think it looks like a woman moving, just kind of like vibing up in the top of a tree. I mean, if you're gonna vibe, why not do it in a cool place, right? Like the top of a tree. Definitely a strange one. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. So you notice right off that they must be zoomed in a good amount because the camera footage is shaky, and it definitely appears to be a person or a humanoid figure of some type. It doesn't have to be a person to be shaped like a person. It could be a puppet. It could be a dummy. It could be some type of Halloween prop. You never know. The video flies by so quick. It's really, you kind of have to watch it a few times over and over to really get the full effect of it. And it looks like she's probably wearing some type of diaphanous dress type thing. Maybe even a hood. Kind of looks like she's wearing a hood, or she's got long hair. One of the things that I think is telling about this that could indicate something is like the really smooth spin. Maybe it's on a mechanical device, you know, spinning, you know what I mean? I don't know what I mean. If it's a real creature, I don't want to live in that neighborhood. Who would want to live in a place where there's creepy devil women in the tops of trees? Not me. I wouldn't want to live there. I don't know if anybody maybe theorized that it could be like a monkey or a bird or something like that. It's pretty creepy. Yeah, I don't know what to think about that one. No idea. So the next one is a UFO, which is obviously one of my favorite paranormal topics. A large triangular shaped UFO. And this happened in Texas. I think it's entirely possible that this one could for sure be a UFO. And I personally have seen light patterns like this in the sky. One of the things that happens though with videos like this is the object is so obscured that a lot of times people will just say, oh, it was just a weather balloon, it was just swamp gas, it was just this, it was just that. You know, there's a logical explanation. No matter which camp of belief you're in, whether you think it's a UFO or if you think that it's swamp gas, there's no way to prove either way. So it's very unfortunate because videos like this are really cool. So I think when you see lights like this and like the Phoenix lights and things, you know, similar to that, don't think of it as, you know, each light is an independent ship. It's probably all one big UFO. Yeah, that would be a big boy. Definitely a big boy right there. There's no way that this could be like a terrestrial aircraft and be this large. I just, you know, it's we're looking at like a really big craft here, so I don't think that it would be terrestrial. And then some people are saying, well, it's probably drones or Chinese lanterns. No, I don't think so. These lights are perfectly geometrically aligned, and you're not going to see Chinese lanterns line up in a perfect shape, you know what I mean, to create the appearance of a triangular shaped craft. It's just that clearly I'm at a loss for words for this one. That's how much I like this video. Chinese lanterns, come on people, God. Oh boy, I remember this one. This one was silly, okay? I'm just gonna tell you up front, this one was really silly. It was a ghost allegedly photographed in a Scottish castle. I don't know if I would call it a hoax, but I would say that somebody was definitely just trying to get some attention and just trying to be kind of hokey and cute and, oh look, I got a picture of a ghost. Oh look, I got a picture of a ghost. And it's like, no, you didn't. Probably not. Maybe not. I mean, maybe. I guess it's possible. Or, you know, this could be a cardboard cutout. Well, I'm always suspicious when someone captures a ghost through a window because why? Like, I don't think ghosts really just peer out windows. I think ghosts have other things to do besides stare out windows. Or it could have been somebody was just pulling a prank and just trying to get some attention on the internet. You never know with this kind of stuff. So who knows? A ghost of an angry housekeeper or a giant roll of carpet? We'll never know. We will never know the truth. On to the next one, and this one I also remember seeing it when it first popped up. Apparently the video wasn't a new video last year. It had been circulated at some point in time, but I think last year it gained traction or something like that. So technically it doesn't really fit in on this list, but kind of sort of does. Let's take a look at it right now. So we have a guy sleeping in a bed. Spooky curtain ghost. I have a spooky curtain ghost, by the way, if you guys want to check that out. It's on my channel. So if you skip ahead to about almost the 1 minute mark, you see the curtain kind of moving aside, and spooky face, spooky eyes. And I think this is one of the things that set me off with this video, was that the creature blatantly looks at the camera in kind of like a spooky Hollywood movie type way. And without even looking at the comments, I could tell you right now already, I psychically sense that people are flipping out over the orbs. Yeah, so the face appears in this hole in the wall, which I don't know if it's supposed to look like a mirror or if it's supposed to look like a hole in the wall. It doesn't matter because it's absurd. So just a silly video that was either a hoax intended to gain some sort of viral video fame or something online, or somebody took it out of context. One of the two. We'll never know. Either way, it's not a ghost. Okay, this one's super confusing. Try to stick with me here. Hopefully I can like articulate this properly because this is such a confusing story. I mean, it is and it isn't. So, okay, this took place in Washington, Washington State, and it starts off with the WSDOT East, which you'll see the Twitter screenshot here. They captured a photograph that they thought showed Bigfoot. It looks pretty convincing. It's a pretty solid figure. Definitely not a whole lot of room for pareidolia here. And then this whole saga began like towards the end of January, and then a couple of days later, another Twitter account posted this. You're gonna see this, and this apparently shows Bigfoot walking across, a snowy mountain. And this came about 3 days after the DOT thought that they captured a photo of Bigfoot hiding behind a tree. So it's definitely good footage. Not shot with a potato. So then a few days later, this happens. The Washington State Department of Transportation has revealed that allegedly that the alleged Bigfoot was fake. So then we find out a few days later that somebody had put a wooden cutout of Bigfoot in front of this camera. So that debunks the picture, but what about the video? So I'm not entirely sure what came of the video footage of Bigfoot, but since the picture turned out to be somebody hoaxing the DOT, I guess, I would say that the Bigfoot video was probably someone hoaxing as well. Unfortunately, probably someone in a costume or something. But I wasn't able to find anything else out about that particular video. It would be cool if it was real, but coming shortly after the fake, the cutout, basically, I guess it's safe to assume probably not a Bigfoot, unfortunately. But how cool would that have been if it was? Moving right along, this doesn't really fall into like a paranormal category, but I personally really love ancient Egypt mysteries and things like that, and I think that there's a lot of they had a really rich paranormal type culture. Maybe the beginnings of the paranormal aspect in their culture, it was kind of they were very spiritual and they believed in a lot of really cool, interesting things, and I definitely think there were aliens hanging out with the ancient Egyptians for sure. And you just have to take my word for it. I just know. I can't tell you how I know, but I just know. Scientists were able to recreate what the voice of this particular Egyptian mummy would have sounded like. So let's take a look at that video footage. Okay, no, seriously, they do have an actual clip of what they think it would have sounded like. Rick rolls aside. I just feel like anybody just watching this video like on their phone or something, everybody else in the room is gonna be like, what are you watching? I hope in the future someone, like, I don't know, digs me up out of my cold mossy grave and cares enough to try to figure out what I sounded like, and then they'll make a video about, you know, this is what we believe Paranormally Correct sounded like, and it'll just be like, I don't know. It'll just be somebody that doesn't have a heavily southern accent. Someone who don't talk like this, y'all. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, the Rickroll version's really good of this. I love it. I think I actually posted that on the PC Facebook page at one point. You guys might remember that. So this is a haunted antique shop in South Yorkshire, England, and it has been dubbed Britain's most haunted shop because apparently it has a really prominent reputation for paranormal activity. And the owner even went on the record to say that he doesn't necessarily believe in the paranormal, but, you know, after a lot of the strange events that have taken place in his shop since he bought it in 2014, he's kind of, I guess, reevaluated his opinions and beliefs on these types of things. So let's check this video out. You know, the clip is 5 seconds long, and there's not really a lot to say about a 5 second long clip. You know, not to try to take away anything from this particular location. If it has a reputation, it has a reputation. And there very well could be a lot of paranormal activity there, but this, I don't think I would say that this is good evidence of the paranormal. And the reason I personally think that it's not is because, and I don't know how likely or how probable a mild earthquake in England is. I have no idea what the chances of that are, but I know that they are pretty low in Kentucky. And when I was a teenager, I had this weird experience where I was standing in the bathroom doing my makeup, and I just happened to look out the window. There was a building on the hill across the street from my house, and the window, the big huge front window of this building exploded out of the frame. It just shattered and blew out all over the place. And I happened to look at the same time. I guess I kind of always assumed that it was like a mild earthquake or you know, some type of shifting of plates or something like that. And that's really the only thing that would make any sense, I guess. So it kind of makes me wonder, is it possible that there was a shake in the ground that caused this particular piece of footage? Because as far as I know, we don't have any other footage of paranormal activity from this particular location. Maybe they do somewhere, but I've never seen it. So that would be the first thought in my head if I was watching the footage and I was like, oh wow, this exploded. Maybe it was a tremor. I really think that they should have considered that as a possible explanation. Next on the list, this is a topic that we don't really ever get to cover very much. I'm always on the lookout for good Nessie footage, but unfortunately it's just not there. Maybe in the future we'll see some good underwater footage. Let's check the video out for this. A father and son, I think, were on a fishing trip, and they spotted what they believe is Ogopogo. And Ogopogo is apparently like a Loch Ness monster in British Columbia. So the person who captured this footage said that they believe this object to be about 60 foot in length, and it swam into a particular area where it would seemingly be cornered, is the way that I understand it. The person who captured this footage went to this particular spot to look for it and said that it wasn't there. Kind of makes you think, like, maybe if it was a Nessie type creature, maybe it went into some hole or something under the water, maybe like a cave or a tunnel, who knows. You know, one of the things that makes Nessie footage so hard to talk about is things in water, but mostly just water in general. It creates a lot of anomalies. You know, there's always so much movement. It's hard to distinguish what's what. It's hard to tell, especially if things are from a distance. I think that people should be less skeptical of the Loch Ness Monster because, you know, with most cryptozoological things, we tend to see a lot of weird creatures that don't really make sense in the grand scheme of nature and wildlife. I think Nessie makes the most sense. When I look at an alligator, I see a dinosaur. There are several creatures still on Earth that science is well aware of that are very dinosaur-like and kind of seem like a throwback to history. People need to cut Nessie some slack. It's not as far-fetched of an idea as like ghosts or aliens. It's really not. And also keep in mind, the giant squid for a long time was basically like a fable or an urban legend, and then they did eventually find a giant squid. So I think it's possible that there are all sorts of crazy things underwater, and we just are never going to find out about it until somebody, maybe Elon Musk, probably find a lot of cool stuff down there. So this next one is a UFO sighting, an alleged UFO sighting. And this report comes from an airline pilot. And this is allegedly from the pilot himself. I think there might be a little controversy or a little something surrounding this. But I mean, obviously, whoever filmed this is piloting a plane. So there's that. It looks like there's a weird halo around this object, almost like it was cropped out of something else and added into this footage. I think we may be looking at a manipulated video here. The frame rate of the object versus the frame rate of the rest of the footage looks like maybe it's a little bit out of sync, just a little. Yeah, this is really strange footage. Okay, so my initial reaction to that, just without, just watching it once and not looking at it under a microscope, so to speak, is that it's fake. I think there may be some manipulation going on. I could be totally wrong, but it kind of looks fake. It could be an asteroid, right? I think it could. It could be a space rock that didn't burn up, and maybe it's just hurtling towards the sea or something. I don't know. But it looks manipulated, unfortunately. On to the next one. I think last year was really a big year for Bigfoot. It kind of seems that way. It kind of seems like there was a lot of Bigfoot activity for some reason. So it says the Bigfoot first appears at about 4 minutes into the video. So let's check this out. Yeah, that's pretty good. A little too good. Oh wow, so there's like a full-on shot of Bigfoot in this footage. Wow. I get so excited when I see footage like this, but then I always think, like, people are so desperate to hoax things and gain attention online from alleged captures and things like that. It's so hard to believe any of this that you see. It's like, if it's too good to be true, it usually is. If it's horrible footage, sometimes maybe, it might be realistic or authentic. But this just seems way too good to be true. It looks like everybody in the comments is pretty convinced that it's real. Someone says, I wonder why I didn't smell you or hear your friend talking. That's a good point. That's another thing that I always try to take into consideration with like cryptozoological things, because I am not an expert on any type of cryptid hunting. It's something that I never got to do enough of to kind of hone my cryptid hunting skills, unfortunately. Even with like deer, you know, people go to great lengths to conceal their smell, and, you know, to remain as quiet as possible while they're hunting. And there's all these precautions that people take just to hunt, you know, regular wildlife. So when someone comes out with footage like this and they're, you know, just standing a few feet away from a Bigfoot, it makes you wonder, why would this animal come that close if it most likely could smell you? And, you know, animals tend to have better hearing than us. So that's another thing that makes me feel like stuff like this is probably not entirely authentic. It seems oblivious to their presence. And I would just find that really hard to believe. I don't know, it's really cool footage. Is it real? Who knows? Probably not. It's probably a hoax. So the next one on the list is the Mount Shasta cloud photo. I did post this one on the Paranormally Correct blog. This was a really cool picture. I really, really like this picture. Do I think that it's a UFO or something? No, probably not. I've seen a UFO cloud myself. It really looked like, you know, a flying saucer. This one to me, although yeah, it does look like a flying saucer a little bit, it also still just looks like a cloud. I don't think it, you know, really looks like some type of crazy extraterrestrial vehicle or anything. I don't think it's not that good, but it is pretty good. It was a lenticular cloud. It was really pretty, had a lot of color to it, you know, kind of gave it dimension to make it look like a UFO. This was just a super cool picture. And more so than a UFO, I think it, you know, depending on how you look at it, it kind of looks like a portal to another universe or something like that. Super, super cool picture. But I can think of a dozen things that it resembles more closely than a UFO. And it's funny, if you Google lenticular clouds, there are some great photos showing clouds that resemble UFOs. So those are really cool. So we got another Bigfoot clip here. And in this one, somebody allegedly captured Bigfoot screams. So let's check it out. And this one, where was this captured? Oh, okay, so this was in Fairfield, Ohio. I know where that is. So let's check it out. Someone in the comments says it sounds like Bigfoot's getting a Brazilian wax. That's pretty good. Sometimes the comments are better than the videos. It takes a very special person to be able to listen to wildlife noises and identify them. That is, that's a skill that not many people have. I can't do it. I mean, you know, one sound is just as good as the next to me because I have no idea. It's not something I know much about. And I think the average person doesn't know much about it either. It could be a deer for all I know. It could be a fox for all I know. I think if you're someone who possibly has spent a lot of time in the woods, maybe you're a hunter or something like that, you probably would have some more insight on this particular topic. So if any of you in the comment section, you know, if you're familiar with wildlife and you know all the sounds, feel free to weigh in on this one because I don't know. Next on the list is a jellyfish UFO. Sounds pretty strange. This was flying over Brazil. Let's check this out. Yeah, so at first it kind of just looks like a contrail behind a plane or something like that, but the person filming is able apparently to zoom way in, which is really cool. It's cool that they had a camera handy that could get a clear enough shot. Yeah, so that's pretty clear. You can see that really, really well. And it does look like a jellyfish. Definitely does. Another thing that's cool about this is because they're zooming in so much. If you've ever tried to zoom in on something, whether it's with, you know, like a DSLR or a phone, the more you zoom, the more steady you have to be. Obviously, it's going to be super, super sensitive to even the tiniest movement when you're zoomed in really far. In this case, it lends authenticity. If you were trying to hoax something like this and make it look zoomed in, it would be tremendously difficult. So I think you can safely rule out video manipulation here. I don't think that this video is manipulated at all. Is there a logical explanation for a jellyfish UFO? Not that I'm aware of. This is really crazy footage. This is legitimately something. What? I don't know, but it's something. And someone in the comments said that it is a weather balloon surrounded by swamp gas. Always. That's always what it is. Flying humanoid. A strange video showing a vaguely human-like figure floating in the sky has recently appeared online. So let's check this one out. You know, I think I'm gonna make a Jetpack Man video pretty soon, depending on how much information I can collect. If I can find enough to make a good video on Jetpack Man, I'll probably make one. So definitely stay tuned for that. But that's what this makes me think of immediately is Jetpack Man. Is it a person? I don't know. I don't think you can really say that this is a humanoid shape. I mean, well, maybe a little. Someone in the comments said Chris Angel practicing his levitation trick. Pretty good, yeah. Could be. Could be a kite. Definitely, you know, definitely a possibility. Next on the list, I think I know what this one is. I think it's a really good one. Mystery lights appear and then vanish. So this footage was captured in South Korea. The user who captured it was driving home from work after dark. And the anomaly takes place about 30 seconds in. So let's check this out. Let's just skip ahead a little. These are like my favorite sky type videos, I guess. Cause you know, like with the Jetpack Man or whatever that one video we just watched was, you know, it could be anything. There's really no way of knowing. But when it comes to lights in the sky, and that's when it's really interesting, I think. That, I think, is a super cool video. And the fact that it's dash cam footage, which a lot of times is the best kind of footage because it's like, I've seen weird things. You know, if I'd have had a dash cam for the greater portion of my driving years, I would have caught all sorts of crazy things. So really cool. I'm just gonna watch that again real quick because that is so cool. And it, you know, it reminds me of like possibly a saucer shaped UFO with the lights coming on individually, of course, like one at a time. That's kind of what it looks like. Super cool footage. I really like that one. And I have to disagree with the consensus here. That is not a plane. That is not a plane and that is not a helicopter. Signal flares, not impossible. We're going with UFO. This one. This is one of my favorite events from last year in the paranormal. I actually made a video about this one. I'll link it somewhere. You should definitely go watch it if you haven't watched it. This video was very interesting. I was never truly convinced that this was definitely paranormal or that it definitely was not paranormal. I still to this day have so many different thoughts on this video when I watch it. Again, go check out the video I made about it. I'll go more into depth, you know, in that obviously. I tend to lean towards definitely paranormal with this one. This video, what really sets it apart for me is the odd behavior of the entity. I think that's what I like about it most. The background of this video is a little questionable. It's a little sketchy, and I have my thoughts on that, but I don't know, something about this video, it just really makes me want this to be paranormal. This next one is a lot like the jellyfish UFO. It doesn't look exactly like it, but it's very similar. Now this thing, I could definitely see if someone was like, you know, that's some sort of apparatus, it's explainable, not a big deal. Because this one to me just doesn't look like any type of extraterrestrial vehicle or any type of secret government aircraft or anything like that. This one to me just kind of looks like a kite or something. So I don't know. That's a weird one. Again, similar to the jellyfish, but not as good. So this next story comes from New Mexico. And it is an alleged ghost visiting her own grave. So let's check this out.
The mother of a toddler who died years ago claims her daughter's spirit is caught on camera. Fabiola Rodriguez was 2 years old when she died in September 2018. Since then, Mother Sandra Gonzalez has had problems with people stealing toys and personal belongings from her grave at the Masonic Cemetery in Las Cruces. Another family's camera later captured this video and showed it to Fabiola's mother, who says she's sure it's her daughter.
That's definitely creepy.
She had introduced herself and she told us that she had like something like really beautiful to show us that they had captured on their video camera. So then she like pulled out her
That doesn't
phone
look like an apparition to me. That actually looks like
well, as soon as, like, she
just
showed me
a kid.
the picture, like, I started, like,
I don't know that there's a whole lot of backstory to kind of base this out of. Now that there, the circle part, I see nothing there. Maybe if they hadn't zoomed in, don't zoom in until you can see the shape of the pixels. Don't zoom that far in. If you have to zoom that far in, you probably didn't catch anything. You know, even if you did, it's the quality loss will be so significant that it's not going to matter anyway if you have to zoom in that far. So I don't see anything in the circle, but the first image of the girl, it looks like just a girl. It doesn't look like an apparition. So I don't know. I think it would be strange if someone had their toddler in a graveyard after dark. I don't know. That's a peculiar one. This next one, it's another CCTV capture, and it's actually just a photo, it's not a video. There's an equal amount, you could say, to the credit of this photo as well as against it. Does that make sense? It's interesting that this figure has a glow, like an aura around it, because in my experience, paranormal entities very often, if you capture them in a photograph, have like a misty, I guess just like a misty form. A lot of times they won't even look completely materialized. They'll kind of just look like a blob, vaguely human shaped or animal shaped or whatever, but mostly like a blob of light. So I think that's interesting. I also think it's interesting that you can see through about, you know, the last third of the form down towards the bottom of the dress. However, it could also be a sheer dress. It's a really good photo. A lot of times when I see like a really good photo captured by CCTV, I'm like, maybe not. I don't know. This one very well could be paranormal. The Falmouth Shadow. I love this video. I did a video on this video. It will be linked somewhere. I highly recommend you go watch it. If you're not familiar with the story, it's a pretty interesting story. Somebody was driving down the road listening to Toto, and it wasn't Africa by Toto. This black shadow thing runs across the street in front of this car. And, you know, since I made that video, looking back on it, and also like with the experiences that I've had recently with my security camera and my black cat, and seeing my cat disappear before my very eyes if I look through the camera's lens, you know, by way of my phone, I've kind of thought maybe that my analysis of that was off. There's still a lot in that video that perplexes me. But as of right now, I definitely am more open to that possibly being some type of black animal. I don't know what kind of animal it would have been. The only animal I can think of that would be able to move that fast and that low to the ground is not an animal you would find in that area. So, very strange. Definitely go check out that video. I love this video so much. A lot of people filmed it, a lot of people put it online, so there were several versions floating around out there. Some of them looked very much like a UFO, and then others were like, yeah, okay, it's definitely a blimp. I think the very first one I saw was one of the videos that really made it look like a UFO, and like all these cars were stopped on the interstate. I just like to think, like, what if it's not a blimp? I mean, I know it looks like a blimp, but what if it's not? What if it's a mothership? Another story that I covered last year, which is the Gettysburg ghosts. Definitely go watch my analysis of that. That analysis I still stand behind 100%. It was water on the windshield of the car. I just spoiled the video for you if you haven't seen it, but it's a short, quick video, so I think you can still get through it. People are still arguing about this video, and it's so peculiar to me how people tend to believe the worst versions or the worst examples of paranormal evidence, aka the ones that are obviously not paranormal at all, but the ones that are more authentic are the ones that people seem to shy away from, and I think that's really very strange. This one was water on the windshield. Unfortunately, it was definitely not a ghost, but definitely go check out my analysis video of the Gettysburg ghosts. All right, next up is another TikTok video. Let's check this one out. White Claw, oof. I'm gonna watch that again. I think the White Claw is the scariest part about this video. Yeah, okay, that was kind of strange, but was it paranormal? Probably not. It was funny though. It was a good video. The next one is actually a picture, not a video, and this one I believe originated on Reddit. It kind of looks like just a person. I don't know, like, what is that? Is that a building, or is that just like a wall with a window cut out? So the backstory on this one is that the Redditor who posted it, I guess, is a photographer, and they took this picture, I guess by accident. They weren't trying to capture a ghostly figure. And they didn't realize that they had captured an alleged ghostly figure until later. Sometimes you don't see anything until you review the photos later. I mean, that's like a big part of paranormal investigations too, is you have to check. Oh, okay, so it's like a little hut that apparently looks like it doesn't have a roof, like a little stone hut. Well, that's kind of interesting. So I guess if there was anybody in there, they likely would have seen them. I don't know, this one's interesting. This is a really interesting photo. Oh no, they embossed it. Guys, I've got a blog post about embossing. Stop embossing your ghost pictures. Just stop it. Just stop. The tentacle ghost. I have gone back and forth on this one. Should I make a video? Should I not make a video? This one I was in the process of researching a while back, and I kind of hit a wall, and I was like, you know, I just don't think there's enough here for commentary. There's not. Let's watch it. You'll see what I'm talking about. Let's just watch it. The backstory on this is that I think there's a couple of backstories. Actually, there's different versions so far from what I've found, but that. We'll get to that in a second. Apparently, one version says that this girl was at home alone one night, and the room at the end of the hall where the figure appears is actually her nursery. And I guess her kid was in there asleep. and the security camera captured this footage. What if this person had something in their hand? What if they were stealing something and this person is just a burglar? I mean, before you jump to like 100% definitely paranormal, no question about it, you should always try to rule things like this out. So my guess would be is if this is not set up entirely, then it could be a burglar. Now, I mentioned that there were a couple of variations of this story. One of the comments on Reddit indicated that this was not a new story, that this story had circulated before. Is that true? But it is a little bit suspicious. I've not finished my research on it. I don't know if I ever will. But I wouldn't take this video too seriously for that reason. Next up is a leaked Pentagon UFO photograph. Ooh, sassy. An intriguing image of a mysterious silver object hovering motionless in the sky has been published online. According to The Debrief, which is a news outlet, I guess, online, the image shows an unidentified silver object hanging in the air, labeled unclassified and for official use only. This photograph was actually captured in 2018, which is interesting. So let's take a look at the picture. So obviously captured by someone in a plane. Kind of looks like it's one of those Top Gun type planes. I don't know my planes very well. You know, the kind like a one-seater kind of plane. The kind that badasses drive. I don't know what I'm talking about. No, that's interesting. It reminds me of a shield, like, I don't know, from like Legend of Zelda or something. Pretty neat, pretty high up. A lot of people were trying to say that this was a Batman balloon. I don't think a balloon could go that high. Don't they pop before they get that high? That's what I thought anyway, but I don't science very well. But, you know, I would think that someone who pilots an aircraft like that, I would think they'd have more sense than to be like, oh, look at that, and take a picture of it, and it just be a balloon. You know what I mean? Wouldn't they know better? They of all people should know better. There's always something. It's, you know, if it's not a Chinese lantern, or a balloon, or swamp gas, or whatever else, you know, there's always a lame explanation. It could be a UFO. It doesn't look like a flying saucer. You know, it's got an interesting shape to it, but it doesn't mean it has to be a Batman balloon. It could be aliens. And closing out the year, one of the most interesting, very brief fiascos was when the former Israeli space security chief said that aliens do exist and humanity is not ready for them.
From the man who headed Israel's space security program for nearly 30 years, Chaim Eshed, claimed that the United States and Israel have been in contact with a group of aliens, not immigrants, but extraterrestrials.
I posted this over on the Paranormally Correct Facebook page a couple weeks ago. Unfortunately, there wasn't much talk about this thereafter. It was kind of a one-off type thing and nobody ever mentioned it again, and I was kind of hoping that there would be developments when I posted it. No real developments. I guess we'll have to keep our eye out in the new year for this dude, because apparently he knows something, and if nobody else is going to tell us about them aliens, maybe he will. So we can keep our fingers crossed, I think. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it all the way to this point in the video, let's do one of those things like other people do on YouTube where you like put something in the comment section if you made it all the way to the end. Put the little ghost emoji. That would be cool. Or not. I don't care if you, it's fine. If you don't want to, you don't have to. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. It was super fun to put together. Hopefully it was fun to watch. And maybe I'll make this a tradition. Who knows? I don't know. If you guys like this one, let me know in the comment section. And if there are any stories from last year that you really liked and you thought was really cool, but maybe I didn't include them in this video, please tell me about them in the comment section. And also, if you have any video requests or anything like that, any videos you'd like for me to do, put that in the comment section as well. And again, thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe and stick around for more spooky content. And until next time, guys, don't get eaten by Dogman and don't get abducted by aliens, and I will see you later.